My sister kissed my BF a week before her wedding. I told her fiancé. Then we dropped a bombshell.
I'm Elise. I'm 28, and what I'm about to say still makes my blood boil. It started small, barely noticeable stuff. My 26-year-old sister, Trish, had her big wedding coming up, and honestly, at first I figured her weird behavior around my boyfriend, Derek, he's 29, was just pre-wedding nerves. Maybe she was extra bubbly. Maybe she was trying too hard to be charming. But something felt off. She kept laughing at Derek's jokes, even the dumb ones he tosses out when he's half asleep, like over-the-top belly laughs. I'm talking about sitcom laugh track level. Then there were the little accidental brushes. Her hand on his arm when they were talking, or bumping into him with this fake innocent giggle like she was in some rom-com. Still, I brushed it off. I told myself, she's just excited. You're being paranoid. But nope. It got worse. Trish started planting herself next to Derek every chance she got. At dinner, during wedding errands, you name it. Her eyes would linger way too long when he wasn't even looking. The whole thing gave me this gnawing, twisty feeling in my gut. Then came the family dinner. Trish was extra that night, hanging off his every word like he was some gam stand-up comic. When we got home, I couldn't keep it in. I turned to Derek and straight up asked, "Did you notice how Trish was acting tonight?"
He blinked at me like I was speaking Greek. What do you mean? So I laid it out. The fake laughs, the touches, the flirty stares. He listened for a second, then just shrugged. You're overthinking it, he said. She's probably just hyped about the wedding. It's harmless. Harmless. Yeah, I wish. I just couldn't shake it. This constant pit in my stomach that screamed, something's not right. Derek kept brushing it off, saying I was imagining things. But I wasn't. I knew what I felt. So I did what anyone with half a brain and a fully active gut instinct would do. Kept my eyes wide open. Every time we were around my sister Trish, I became this hawk, watching her every damn move. And surprise, surprise, she kept getting worse. She'd slide into the seat next to Derek like she'd been assigned there. Always had some urgent wedding thing only he could help with, even if I was literally standing right there. It was like I didn't exist. Then came the barbecue at my parents' place. We were all gathered, pretending to play happy family. I went inside for a quick bathroom break, and when I came back out, bam, there it was. Trish and Derek, off in a quiet corner of the backyard, way too close, talking low. And she was giggling again, that same sugar syrup laugh that made my skin crawl. The second they saw me, they flinched apart like guilty kids. Trish casually strolled off like nothing happened. Meanwhile, I stood there, heart pounding, nausea rising. But I didn't explode. Not in front of my whole family. Later that night, once we were back home, I brought it up. Tried to keep it cool. So, what were you and Trish talking about earlier? Derek blinked, like the question surprised him. Huh? Oh, just some music stuff for the reception. That's it? Just music stuff? While standing shoulder to shoulder in the shadows, like it was a damn rom-com scene. I wasn't buying it. He sighed, one of those annoyed, tired sighs, and told me again I was reading too much into it, that Trish was just being friendly. I lost it. I told him straight. She's basically throwing herself at you, and you're just standing there letting it happen. That hit him. His face fell. He asked me, "What do you want me to do? She's your sister. I'm just trying to be polite." I snapped back. Polite has boundaries, and yours are non-existent. Of course, Derek kept swearing up and down that he wasn't into Trish, that it was all in my head.
And damn it, I wanted to believe them, I really did. But my gut wouldn't shut up. It was screaming at me that something was wrong. Still, he just kept going in circles, spinning the same lines, telling me I was seeing things that weren't there, that I was being paranoid, dramatic.
Every word out of his mouth made me feel more insane, like I was losing my grip on reality. I kept trying to show him what was right in front of us, what I knew was happening, but he wouldn't budge, wouldn't even look me in the eye long enough to see the hurt he was causing. And at that point, I knew one thing for sure. I was done ignoring my instincts. Eventually, we both gave up and went to bed pissed, not even pretending things were okay. But I wasn't about to let this slide anymore. The next morning, I knew exactly what I had to do. Confront Trish. No more tiptoeing, no more pretending. I gave her a call and asked if she wanted to grab a coffee. She agreed instantly, voice all chirpy and clueless like nothing was going on. We met at this cozy little cafe near her place. I was shaking a little, stirring my coffee like it owed me answers. Meanwhile, Trish was buzzing, rattling off every last wedding detail like we were still besties. She was so light, so unaffected. It made me feel even more alone in what I was carrying. Finally, I just couldn't take it anymore. I cut her off mid-sentence. "We need to talk." Trish blinked at me, confused. "Okay, what's up?" I took a breath, gathered every ounce of nerve I had, and told her flat out I didn't like the way she was acting around Derek. The too long stares, the constant flirty touches, the giggles, all of it. And she snapped. First, there was shock, then confusion, then full-on rage. "What are you even talking about?" she fired back, face going red. "I haven't been flirting with Derek. That's ridiculous." But I wasn't backing down. I calmly told her she had been. Maybe not even intentionally, but it didn't matter. Her behavior was inappropriate, and it was hurting me. She laughed. But it was that cold, fake laugh people use when they're trying to cover up something ugly. "Derek's basically family," she said, waving me off. "You're reading way too much into it. I was just being nice." Nice? I nearly choked. I told her this wasn't just about being nice. This was about crossing lines that shouldn't be crossed. About how every little touch, every lingering look made my skin crawl. And for the first time, I saw something flicker in her face. Something like guilt, or maybe the shock of being caught. But I knew right then, this wasn't going to end with an apology. This was the beginning of a deep, ugly crack between us. I laid it all out for her. How she always found a reason to be near Derek, how her hand was constantly on his arm or brushing his shoulder, how she laughed at every single one of his jokes, even the dumbest ones that barely deserved a smirk. To me, it was obvious. She wasn't just being friendly, she was doing something, and it was making my skin crawl. As I spoke, I watched Trish's face change. First red, then tight, then full-on furious. She looked like I'd slapped her across the face. "You really think that low of me?" she snapped. "God, Elise, maybe if you weren't so insecure, you wouldn't be making up crap like this." Her words hit like a punch, but I stood my ground. "This isn't about insecurity," I said through clenched teeth. "It's about respect. And you've crossed a line. Over and over. It needs to stop." Trish suddenly pushed her chair back, loud, sharp scrape against the floor. She stood up like she was about to throw the table over. "I'm not sitting here while you throw paranoid accusations at me," she hissed. "If you can't trust your own sister, that's on you, not me." And just like that, she stormed out. I sat there, heart pounding, totally wrecked.
Did I go too far? Had I really just ruined everything over nothing? By the time I got home, Derek could tell something was off. He asked, watching me closely, so I told him. Everything. The whole train wreck of a coffee meetup, her reaction, my words, the walkout. He listened, let out a long sigh like I told him his favorite football team just lost the Super Bowl. "I think you made a mistake," he finally said. "You might have really hurt her. I mean, the wedding's right around the corner."
That stung. I turned to him, defensive. Are you seriously taking her side right now? No, he said quickly, hands up. I'm not taking sides. I don't think she was flirting. And even if she was, maybe confronting her like that wasn't the best move. His words didn't help. They just made everything murkier. Tears started building, blurring my vision. I looked at him and asked, voice cracking, "So what? I should have just ignored it?" The pain was real. The doubt, even worse. Derek came over and wrapped his arms around me, gently, like he was trying to calm a bomb that was already halfway to exploding. He told me maybe, just maybe, I could have handled things differently. That instead of going straight at Trish like a wrecking ball, I could have talked to him more first, or approached her less aggressively. Then he dropped the kicker. That now, thanks to how it all blew up, Trish was probably mad at both of us, and it could end up overshadowing her entire wedding. I pulled away from him, heat crawling up my neck. "So what? You're saying this is all my fault now?" He sighed, long and heavy, like the words hurt his lungs. "I'm not blaming you," he said. "I'm just saying maybe your emotions got the better of you. You kind of overreacted." That was it. That was the moment I realized he wasn't going to get it.
We kept going in circles, throwing half-hearted justifications at each other. But it was useless. We weren't even speaking the same language anymore. Eventually, he just gave up and went to bed. Left me sitting there in the dark, tangled up in my thoughts, doubting everything. And it only got worse. Trish went full ghost mode, refused to answer my calls or even look in my direction. The silence between us wasn't just awkward, it was loud. Then my parents got involved. They noticed something was off with Trish and, of course, called me to ask what the hell I did. I tried to explain, told them what really happened, but their tone said everything. They thought I'd gone too far. As the wedding crept closer, my head just got messier. I was supposed to be a bridesmaid, a key part of the big day. But now, that role felt like a punishment. I didn't even know if Trish wanted me there. Derek still had his invite, though. He told me we should go, show we were being mature, that there were no hard feelings. But the thought of standing there, smiling like everything was fine, while Trish walked down the aisle after nuking our relationship,
It made me sick. I tried reaching out. Calls, texts, voicemails. Nothing. Even showed up at her place once. She slammed the door in my face. Meanwhile, Derek kept telling me to let it go, that things would blow over. Then I had this dream. I walked into the wedding and every head turned. Whispers, fingers pointing, shame. I woke up shivering. And things only got worse. After our fight, Trish ran straight to our mom. And Mom, she lost it. Screamed down the phone about how selfish I was. How dare you accuse your own sister of something like that? She didn't want to hear my side. She wanted me to fix it, apologize, pretend it never happened. But I couldn't. Not anymore. My mom called me again that night, furious. She told me I needed to fix things immediately, apologize to Trish, that I was tearing the family apart. Apparently, Trish was still giving me the cold shoulder, and now both of my parents were offended too. And Derek? Still sticking to his same old script, telling me I was overreacting, that none of this was as serious as I was making it out to be. I was exhausted, crushed, angry. About a week before the wedding, I decided to stop being the villain in everyone's version of the story and go talk to my parents. Clear the air.
When I got to their house, something stopped me dead. As I walked around toward the garden, I heard voices. Low, close, too close. Then I saw them. Behind a big bush, tucked just enough to hide if you weren't looking. Trish and Derek. Locked in each other's arms, her legs wrapped around his waist, his hands up under her shirt. They were completely wrapped up in each other. So into it, they didn't even see me standing there. It was like all the air had been punched out of my lungs. I stood frozen, staring, the scene burning itself into my brain. And then I broke. What the hell is this? My voice cracked, loud, sharp, shaking with rage. They jumped like they'd been shot. Trish turned ghost white. Derek stumbled back, stammering, "It's not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. Every sick feeling I'd been choking down for weeks, it all exploded. Tears flooded my face. I could barely speak, but I managed to choke out, "How could you? My own sister, my boyfriend." Trish started crying too. Her voice cracked with guilt, trying to find words, trying to say she was sorry. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she sobbed. I didn't care. I didn't want to hear one more excuse. I turned and ran, straight back to my car. Behind me, they were calling my name, begging me to come back. I didn't stop, didn't even look back. I drove, tears blinding me, my chest on fire. My phone started ringing. First Derek, then Trish, then my mom. I let it buzz. Over and over. Because I couldn't do it. Not yet. The betrayal was still too fresh, too real, too deep. By the time I made it back to my apartment, I was completely numb. No screaming, no crying, just cold, empty silence inside me. I grabbed a bag, shoved in some clothes and basics, and got the hell out. I couldn't stay in that place, not after what I'd just seen. Before I walked out, I sent Derek one final text. "We're done. Don't contact me again." Then I shut off my phone. Dead silence. Now I'm writing this from some basic hotel room in a city 1 hour away. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do next. Trisha's wedding is in just a few days, and there's absolutely no way I'm showing up to watch her play Princess in White after what she did. My relationship? Ruined. My sister? Dead to me. My sense of reality? Shattered. And the worst part? Everyone made me feel like I was insane, that I was paranoid, that I was inventing drama where there was none. But I was right all along, and that truth cuts deeper than anything. Now I don't even know how I'll ever trust another person again. So, Reddit, if you've made it this far, any advice on how to move forward from this wreckage would mean the world. After catching Trish and Derek, my sister and my now ex in that moment, I spent the next few days in a daze, just floating.
I ignored the non-stop buzzing of my phone. Texts, missed calls, voicemails from Trish, Derek, and, of course, my parents. I wasn't ready to hear a single excuse. But there was one person who deserved the truth. Colin, Trisha's fiancé. The guy walking into this dumpster fire blind. With a heavy, twisted gut, I finally called him. He answered sounding shaken. Said Trish was a mess, that no one had heard from me, that she claimed I'd just vanished. Yeah, wonder why. I took a deep breath and told him everything. From the very first uneasy gut feeling to how Derek and Trish kept brushing it off to what I saw in the garden behind my parents' house. I didn't hold back. Colin didn't interrupt, just gave these quiet little hums now and then, so I knew he was still listening. When I finally stopped talking, there was a long silence. Then he spoke, voice low. "Thank you for telling me." That was it. He hung up. And all I could do was stare at my phone and wonder, what's he gonna do now? The days leading up to the wedding felt endless and silent. No word from Colin, no calls from my parents, not a single text from Trish. It was like I didn't exist. Like they were trying to bury the whole thing. Honestly, I started thinking maybe Trish had talked her way out of it. Maybe she'd convinced Colin it was all a misunderstanding, that I was just bitter or unstable or whatever lie worked best. The thought of her pulling it off, walking down that aisle in some designer gown, still playing the perfect bride while my whole life was sitting in ruins, made me sick. So I made a decision. I wasn't going. I couldn't sit in that room and watch her pretend everything was fine. Not after what she did. Instead, I stayed in bed with the blinds shut and tried to remember who the hell I even was before this nightmare started. Then my phone rang. It was Chloe, my cousin. Her voice was a whisper, but full of energy. "Oh my God, Elise, you're not going to believe what just happened." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" And then she told me. Everything started normal. Trish looked stunning. Perfect hair, perfect dress. Colin was at the altar, standing tall, waiting for her. But when it came time for the vows, Colin took a step forward and said he had something to say. My heart was pounding just listening to Chloe describe it. In front of everyone, Colin looked right at the crowd and said he couldn't go through with the wedding. He said, clear as day, that he couldn't marry someone who betrayed her own sister, who wrecked someone else's life just to chase her own desires. Chloe said Trish turned pale, like ghost pale. Then, get this, Colin turned to my parents and apologized, told them they needed to hear the truth about why I'd been keeping my distance. People in the pews started murmuring. My parents looked like they'd been hit with a brick. Trish started crying right there in front of everyone. And then Colin walked out, left her standing at the altar, alone. "It was like something out of a freaking movie," Chloe said, still half whispering, like she couldn't believe it actually happened. "Everyone's in shock," she added. "Your parents are trying to get answers from Trish, but she's a complete wreck, crying, shaking, just broken." I sat there, frozen, trying to absorb it all. Part of me felt this wave of relief. Finally, the truth had come out. I wasn't crazy, I wasn't dramatic, I wasn't paranoid. I was right. But that sense of validation came with this deep, heavy sadness, because now my entire family was shattered. Chloe must have sensed the silence on my end. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. I told her the truth. I don't know. I really didn't. I never wanted it to end like this. Not with chaos at a church and tears and people whispering in pews. I just wanted someone, anyone, to believe me before it got this far. After we hung up, I just sat there, staring at the wall, trying to process everything. So yeah, the truth is out now. But what did it cost? My bond with Trish is destroyed. My relationship with Derek? Dead. My parents? Probably never gonna look at me the same again. Just because the facts are clear now doesn't mean anything feels better. Healing's gonna take time, maybe a lot of time, and I don't know what that's going to look like yet. But for the first time in weeks, I felt just a little bit lighter, like I wasn't carrying the burden of secrets anymore. At least now, I could move forward. Not with answers, but with clarity. What comes next? I honestly don't know. I'll have to face my family eventually, and that day is probably gonna suck. But for now, I'm taking it one day at a time. If there's one thing this whole nightmare taught me, it's this. Trust your gut. Even when everyone around you tells you you're imagining things, even when they call you crazy or dramatic or insecure, don't let anyone gaslight you out of what you know deep down is real. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this mess. Your words meant more than you'll ever know. And if you're going through something like this, you're not alone. Believe yourself. And never apologize for defending your own peace.